DPM gives report to ECLAC on Hurricane Dorian, checks for small businesses in Grand Bahama, and BMES wins volleyball championships. This is Flipping Grand Bahama News for this week ending November 22nd. I'm Yasmin Popescu with these and other stories. Thank you for joining us. Notwithstanding the devastation of Hurricane Dorian, the resilient spirit of Bahamians remain undaunted, said the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, K. Peter Turnquest, as he responded to the report entitled The Assessment of the Effects and Impacts of Hurricane Dorian in the Bahamas, prepared by the Economic Commission for Latin America, ECLAT, the Inter-American Development Bank, IDB, and the Pan-American Health Organization, PAHO, working alongside officials from the Ministry of Finance and a number of other public agencies. He went on to say that in fiscal terms and economic terms, though the storm has forced us to reset our priorities and change our plans, we have and will be able to demonstrate a fiscal strategy and a pipeline of investments that will ensure that the economic and fiscal recovery that this administration led in its first 2 years will ultimately gain traction once again as the country emerges from the near-term impact of this event. The Deputy Prime Minister noted that this report points out and details the unprecedented economic damage wrought by Dorian, which is estimated at some $3.5 billion. The island of Abaco, he said, registered some 87% of the economic value of the damage, and that the destruction and damage to the housing stock in Abaco and Grand Bahama accounted for most of the physical damage. Without question, he stated, an event of this magnitude with losses equivalent to almost 30% of the national GDP has had and will have significant impact to our near-term fiscal and economic prospects. He stressed that we cannot minimize either the incredible human and personal toll that this storm has had on its victims. He said, we have lost loved ones and the lives of thousands of Bahamians have been disrupted in a way that money cannot altogether quantify. But he said, we are exceedingly grateful for all persons who have provided and continue to provide comfort and aid to those impacted by Dorian. However, the minister said, what is abundantly clear is that the government has taken and will continue to take decisive action to address the immediate recovery and rebuilding needs in Abaco and Grand Bahama. The government has established a framework for special economic recovery zones and the institutional framework to allow for expedient efforts to restore Abaco and Grand Bahama in a way that will eventually exceed the living standards in these islands before Dorian. The cleanup exercises have commenced in earnest. The tax concessions are being implemented, and the funding mechanisms to provide much-needed capital to impact small businesses have already begun to make disbursements. It remains critical to point out that the medium-term prospects for these islands and the Bahamas overall continue to be exceptionally bright. In Grand Bahama, the Carnival Cruise port development will be underway by the end of the year. The Aulukaya transaction remains on track to be finalized by end of the year, kicking off the redevelopment of that property into a world-class family resort. However, as the people in the northern Bahamas try to recover from the ravages of Hurricane Dorian, the thought of heavy rains seems a lot, but we are not out of the woods yet, as the hurricane season does not end until the 30th of this month. And we're looking at a storm presently in the Atlantic waters named Sebastian. Good news, it's not expected to come near us. This week, the Minister for Disaster Preparedness addressed the Bahamas Institute of Chartered Accountants at their seminar in Grand Bahama. Minister Aram Lewis gave an idea of the effects of Hurricane Dorian, telling the accountants that in the recovery process, they will be needed.
In restoring normalcy to the islands and keys affected by the storm, the delivery unit in the Office of the Prime Minister, with assistance from focal government ministries that are involved in restoring and reconstructing an initiative, will in short order introduce a comprehensive plan that is based on addressing challenges arising from the hurricane in 6 pillars. Infrastructure. We have to ensure that our roadways, our harbors, our seaport, airports are up and running. The economy. We have to ensure that as many persons as possible get to work and commerce is restored. Health. We want to ensure that everyone has access to health care. Education. We want to ensure that our schools are repaired and our children have access to education. The environment. We want to ensure that the environment is clean. Every community is clean. Housing. We want to ensure that all of those displaced persons have access to permanent housing at the end of the day. Unfortunately, I'm not at liberty to disclose much of the plan, as the document is in its final stages of completion and will require sanctioning by machineries in government. One thing that I have no reservation in conveying, and being privy to the document, is that the activities of the plan will most certainly require your services.
A number of businesses were recipients of grants from the Small Business Development Center and the Office of the Prime Minister last Friday at the Office of the Prime Minister in Grand Bahama. The businesses were either existing, looking to expand, or start up, and would be located anywhere from East Grand Bahama to Freeport to West Grand Bahama. The recipients this time around were Sunnyside Food Truck, owned by Jimmy Gaskins, specializing in baked goods; EJ's Cafe in McLeanstown; Peaches and Cream Boutique, owned by Sally Forbes, a clothing boutique; Junkanoo Shoe Company, owned by Tamika Knowles, a local shoe manufacturer; Bahamas Disposal Waste Treatment and Supplies, owned by Mervyn Dean, specializing in hazardous waste removal; Yellowtail Biofuel, owned by Philip Kemp, specializing in renewable fuel sources; Utopia Natural Gardens, owned by Chaka Woodside, featuring organic produce; Voluptuous Beauty, owned by Benita Pinder, a women's clothing and accessory store; New Era Productions, owned by Quentin Gordon, a multimedia production firm; New Horizon Travel, owned by Hortense Russell, a travel agency; and Lost at Sea Jewelry, owned by Cheryl Bethel, specializing in sea glass jewelry. 3 of the businesses were recipients of grants and loans from the Small Business Development Center, while the others received grants from the Office of the Prime Minister. Further, for the past 2 months, executives, staff, and volunteers at the Grand Bahama Children's Home have been consumed with the task of rebuilding the facility, which was heavily flooded as a result of Hurricane Dorian. For more than 40 years, the home has provided a safe haven for abused and neglected children, and at the time of the storm, housed 32 children ranging in age from 3 months old to 14 years. The children and staff had to be rescued as storm surge waters came in, and have since been relocated to similar facilities in New Providence until the home can be rebuilt. As recovery efforts has progressed, the outpouring of support from both local and international donors and volunteers has been tremendous. In the immediate aftermath of the storm, volunteers from all over North America flew in to assist us in this effort, noted Sheila Johnson-Smith, Executive Director of the Children's Home. Since then, we've had so many relief organizations and corporate entities rush to the aid of the home. It has been incredible to watch them provide us with the much-needed resources and support to get us back up and running in order to get our children back in their beds for Christmas. The home's most recent benefactor is world-renowned comedian and television host Steve Harvey. Through his outreach organization, the Harvey Foundation, Steve and his wife Marjorie have provided youth outreach services for children around the world with the sole purpose of cultivating the next generation of responsible leaders through educational enrichment, mentoring, life transformation skills, and global service initiatives. Upon hearing of the devastation wrought by Hurricane Dorian's passing, the couple leapt into action to help the home, which has sheltered the island's most vulnerable residents. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back. Well, there is a ban on soda. A notice came out from the Ministry of Health to say effective 1st of December 2019, the provision of sale and making available for purchase through vending machines in addition to internal and external vendors of sugar-sweetened beverages will be banned at and from all Ministry of Health's functions, events, and on all of its premises, inter alia, its headquarters, attending properties, all public hospitals, all public community clinics, teaching institutions, library, and health councils, the statement said. Additionally, the promotion of these beverages for campaigns at functions as well as in or said premises is also prohibited. For this policy, an SSB shall be defined as any non-alcoholic beverage with added sugar. These beverages apply to both carbonated and non-carbonated forms and will include, but not limited to, all brands of sodas and other carbonated soft drinks, non-fresh, non-100% fruit and or vendor juice, lemonade, limeade, nectars, malts, energy drinks and flavored milk, along with pre-sweetened teas and coffee. Also, the Ministry of Environment and Housing, in conjunction with the National Emergency Management Agency, issued a public service announcement to those residents on the islands impacted by flood waters from Hurricane Dorian to follow steps to remove mold and mildew from their indoor spaces. Health and safety is important. Wear protective equipment to safeguard our eyes, nose and mouth and skin when cleaning your indoor environment. Avoid mixing chemicals like bleach and ammonia when cleaning mold and mildew, as this can create toxic vapors which may adversely impact your health. Remove all visible mold and mildew by cleaning with water and detergent. Vinegar and peroxide are also suitable cleaning alternatives in these circumstances. Air conditioning systems should be engaged following adequate cleaning and drying of indoor environments. All salvageable clothing should be thoroughly laundered and dried. Place bed mattresses and other cloth furnishings outside. Exposure to sunlight will inhibit the growth of mold. Discard all wood, upholstered furniture, and other porous materials which were completely submerged in water, as these items can trap mold and mildew. Throw away books and paper products where mold can hide and grow. All water-damaged sheetrock should be removed and replaced. Carpets submerged in water should be removed, as drying does not remove mold spores. Carpets showing visible mold and mildew should also be removed. The United States Embassy in Nassau issued a statement on motivational speaker Ms. Raquel Benaby Hart, who is attending the U.S. Department of State's International Visitor Leadership Program this week. She's attending in her capacity as motivational speaker, trainer, and facilitator in the areas of women's empowerment and entrepreneurship. During the program, Ms. Hart is engaging in dialogue on social, economic, and political factors that influence and encourage women to become entrepreneurs and managers of small and medium-sized enterprises, examine ways to cultivate leadership in young women, and encourage them to take action to improve their communities and explore creative partnerships and cross-sector relationships that support the development and empowerment of the next cadre of female entrepreneurs. We're taking another break. We'll be right back. Welcome back. In national news, this week the Prime Minister, Honorable Hubert Minnis, was in Europe to open the Bahamas Embassy and Mission to European Union in Belgium.
The official opening of our embassy will increase the profile of the Bahamas on the continent of Europe. And it is also confirmation that the Bahamas is open for business, particularly in the aftermath of Hurricane Dorian, which devastated swaths of the islands of Abaco and Grand Bahama. Given the changing landscape of Europe, the opening of this embassy demonstrates the deep commitment of the Bahamas to our long-term relationship with the European Union and a desire for the further development of this relationship. It is also our intention that the mission will allow for the enhancement of our relationship with the African, Caribbean, and Pacific group of states and the process with the European Union, ACP, EU. With the EU as one of our major economic partners, working alongside the ACP EU will allow for further sustainable development of the Bahamas as well as the strengthening our position in the global economy.
Also, while in Europe, he addressed the 925th meeting of the Committee of Ambassadors of the African, Caribbean, and Pacific Group of States at ACP House. The Prime Minister urged vulnerable ACP countries to collectively and urgently intensify its response to the climate emergency. We are painfully aware of the warnings of the impact of climate change on all of our states, including rising sea levels and the threats to agriculture and fisheries, said the Prime Minister.
Hurricane Dorian was documented by the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency, SEDEMA, as the strongest Atlantic hurricane to impact a landmass since record began. Dorian, which the United Nations Secretary General described as Category Hell, caused death and devastation to the islands of Abaco and Grand Bahama and their surrounding keys, disrupting the economy and lives of thousands of residents. Both islands are second and third most populated islands in the Bahamas, are crucial to our economy, contributing some 20% to our GDP. Initial assessment by the Inter-American Development Bank and ECLAC on the effects and impact of Hurricane Dorian estimated total damages at $2.4 billion, with an additional estimated to be $200 million and losses of over $700 million. Our economy was projected to grow by 2.2% in 2019. And following this catastrophic storm, our projected GDP growth rate is now 1.1%. on behalf of the government and people of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, I thank the Secretary General and member states of the ACP for your expressions of solidarity and support.
In the region, a minister has taken to task foreign agencies that blacklist and impose sanctions on Barbados and other Caribbean countries, according to a news report this past weekend. Minister of Maritime Affairs and Blue Economy, Kirk Humphrey, described the action of unnamed organization as unconscionable in the House of Assembly. He said every time we adjust, the goalpost is moved and somehow we must readjust, and it seems that no matter whatever we do, enough is not good enough. We keep making changes to our tax policy to be able to suit them. The thing about taxes that I recall is that there should be clarity, and Barbados has always had a clear tax policy. Now in sporting news. This past weekend, Bishop Michael Eldon School won the GBSSAA Volleyball Championships at the St. George's High School Gymnasium. According to a report, the capacity crowd of over 1,200 overwhelmingly pro-Warriors cheered the Bishop Michael Eldon School to a perfect 3-3 on Championship Friday. This was their second straight year they claimed titles in the junior boys and girls and senior girls division in the Oriel Knowles Rosina Nesbitt GBSSAA Volleyball Championship. The heated rivalry and gut-churning game thrilled new fans and old ones in the raucous gym. The Warriors defeated their rivals, Sunland Baptist, in all three contests. Sunland Baptist boys took the senior boys title over Tabernacle Baptist. It was a night for Warriors volleyball fans to worry, exhort, celebrate, and lose their voices. It was a night to claim the title once again of the kings and queens of the volleyball kingdom. That's it for this week. For Flipping Grand Bahama News, I'm Yasmin Popescu, and we look forward to seeing you next week.